it's Nicole from outerinnerspace, and this video is about Libra energy and extrasensory perception, so how ESP might manifest for Libra energy. So you can watch this if you have any Libra placements for 7th house energy or wherever Libra is in your natal chart, because we all have Libra somewhere in our natal chart and we have that expression of Libra as part of our energetic blueprint. The reason I'm doing this series is because I feel that everybody has extrasensory perception in one way or another, and likely in multiple ways in fact, but we often don't realize that this is what's happening, or we don't trust it because we override it with logic and social constructs, and the idea of ESP is seen as kind of taboo, and really it's a supernatural part of who we are, and we're working with it throughout the day all the time. And so this series has been designed so that you can watch all the videos, because it'll show the different dimensions and the ways in which ESP can manifest, and then you can kind of overlay them to your own experience and to your own natal blueprint. It's my feeling that a lot of anxiety and depression and feelings of not belonging or feelings of being misunderstood have to do with the fact that there's this huge part of our experience that gets ignored or shunned or covered over, because it isn't something that we are commonly talking about or relating to just in our own personal experience. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the ways in which it can be working for you, and then the hope is that you can kind of lean into it and hone your special abilities and start to utilize them more without feeling like there's nothing there or that it's not true. So for Libra energy, it has a lot to do with discerning what is yours and what is other. So with 7th house energy, we're in relationships with other people and with other experiences. It's about how we relate. When you think about Aries through Virgo, that lower half of the zodiac, that has a lot to do with how we create our identity and how we refine it with Virgo. And then in 7th house, we take that to market in a sense. We take it to an audience, we take it to other people, and then we get reflected back data from this outside realm. One of the important things when considering ESP with Libra energy is the ability to understand your own authentic frequency and what is pure energy that is yours and what is energy that is other, or energy that you have in your field which doesn't belong to you, because we're often operating from a place of beliefs that we have taken on board which don't resonate with us but seem legitimate at the time or make more sense at the time. And we carry these around and they get stored in our body and in our field. And then what happens is we are vibrating at a mixed kind of rate, this contradictory signal that can prevent manifestations from coming through or prevent certain experiences that you want to have, because you're vibing at this discordant rate. And that has a lot to do with the energy that we take on from other people that isn't in alignment with us. And when we're young, in the first 7 years of our life, we are in this theta range brainwave, and that first 7 years of our life, we're literally just absorbing everything that happens to us and everything that we witness. And so in that time of our life, when we're so pure and we're so innocent and we're so vulnerable, and we are also at probably our highest level of extrasensory perception of being able to read energy, we often get told that certain things aren't true or that certain things are this way, and then we take on that energy, and then we grow up, and sometimes it manifests in the sense that we just don't know ourselves and we people please, because that's what we've kind of been trained to do in many situations. And this stuff is very, very unconscious, because in that theta range, that is our unconscious, that is below the surface of our cognitive mind, which is the beta range. So it's important to note this, because the body will store these vibrations, these discordant vibrations, and when we're talking about ESP and picking up signals from other people and from the atmosphere and from source, if we've got this signal going out that is discordant, then the messages can get either filtered or misread. So for Libra energy, it really is so important to pull on the opposite axis of Libra, the Aries energy of knowing yourself and being the individual and honing that sense of identity that is absolutely true for you and completely authentic, and it doesn't pay any mind to the influence of other people in that sense. And that might be a challenge at first for Libra energy, but understand that with astrology we're always working along the axis. So Libra and Aries is one of the same. It's working on a spectrum, and so that is completely available to you. So doing things like being in your own field, really getting away from other people to balance out the interactions that you have with others and feeling into your own energy and feeling what your body, that Aries first house energy, is signaling to you. If you feel any parts of the body which are tense or which close in around certain people, if the shoulders get small, or if you physically make yourself small, that's indicating to you that you're in a protective mode, and in that mode you're not operating in like that true free Venusian energy that is the natural expression of Libra. So in these moments of solitude, and it just has to be like a few minutes a day, just in your own space and feeling your field, like feeling the sensations that are occurring, and especially around the back, like the back of your body, the kidneys below the rib cage and the low back and the top of your butt. If there's tension there or if there's numbness there, it's quite likely that you're in like this protective mode where you can't be your full self because you're considering the feelings and the thoughts and the experiences of other people. And that's such a practiced thing for a lot of us because of that early childhood experience. Dr. Gabor Mate talks about authenticity versus attachment and how we have to sacrifice our authentic self for that attachment to the people that we love and to get that care. And authenticity and attachment, that's the axis of Libra and Aries right there. So in these moments where you're tuning to yourself and you're feeling your own energy, particularly if you enhance the environment with beautiful things, like add that Venusian touch of being somewhere in nature or having essential oils burning and really getting into that sensual part of you where these other parts of your input are activated by very neutral, pleasant things, as opposed to potentially harsh energies or just energies that conflict with you. This is kind of about creating that sense of equilibrium and flow and nurturing that can really help you fine tune your body and your field. And in these regular moments of attunement, when you kind of go out into the world again, you're able to sense the boundary of an energy that is in vibrational harmony with you, or one that is not, or one that is trying to take your energy from you because you're so giving and you're so considerate, versus ones that are kind of mutually reciprocated. It's a bit about curating this experience. You know, it's a little for them and just as much for me, and a little for them and just as much for me. And when Libra energy takes on that Aries energy, it becomes super optimized in the sense that you're like walking around leaving magical dust in your wake kind of thing, because it's that Venusian energy is so generous and so beautiful and so naturally yin, but it doesn't have to come at a cost of you being confused about all these different factors that you have to take into consideration. Like, it'll be natural in a sense, but it won't be so anxiety ridden, if that kind of makes sense to you. And doing other practices with that Venusian energy of going to really beautiful places that enrich you, and it doesn't always have to be other people that you get that kind of input from. Like I said before, being out in nature is going to really charge up your field, and in those moments of attunement you really sort of start to gauge how your energy is working, and then all these other elements of your extrasensory perception come into view because you're not thinking logically, but that air energy is operating in more of a flow state where you're privy to inspirational waves and you're privy to moments of creative enlightenment that come in the form of ideas, but it's more alpha in the sense of creativity and enhancement and neutrality and that flow state, rather than the beta, like trying to work things out logically, which is a bit more Mercurian. And in these moments you can kind of see through the lens of other people's experience, like that Libran energy. It gets really cool when you start to hone your vessel in this way, because it opens you up to these whole other subtle levels of impressions, in the sense that you can channel creative people and see the world through their lens, through your mind's eye, through envisioning, through vision quests. Or you could look at art and you get more of a encompassing feeling of what you're sensing. And with Venus, it is about the senses and activating that aesthetic part of your experience, and there's so much there that is available. Stuff like listening to music and being able to see what the musician sees. Like, this is the kind of Libra energy where it comes to understanding of the other point of view of a person, or the other feeling state of a person. It becomes kind of like shapeshifter energy in that sense. And imagine the potential of that kind of thing, like channeling creative genius through the body, because it is vibrating at such like an open and clear manner that isn't in defense mode to protect your energy, because it is so pure and it is so lovely. It's kind of like how when you go to sleep or meditate, your subconscious mind is sorting and sifting your experiences and any kind of problems that you're having with other people, or any kind of confusing roadblocks that you're facing, where that natural, authentic part of you is in conflict to what you should do or what's expected of you. In these Venusian moments, your subconscious has the ability to organize that for you, and it's kind of like stepping out of logic into those alpha waves. And when you kind of re-emerge to face the issue again, you have greater clarity, and that's kind of how you can work with it. You might want to watch the Venus chart ruler video I did for Libra rising to get a bit more of a scope of how to tune to your authentic frequency. And I'll link that at the end of the video. You don't have to be a Libra rising. I realize in hindsight I'm kind of just talking about how Venus plays out as a lens through which we see the world. The last thing I'll just mention, your extrasensory perceptions are really designed just for you, and so you don't necessarily need to convey what you see or get proof that it's valid, because it is. If you're seeing it and if you're feeling it, then that's something that is designed for your experience one way or another. So practice keeping it for you and keeping it refined in that way, and it'll enhance and you'll develop that relationship with it. And once you develop that relationship with it, it becomes very acute and a really special part of how you operate in the world. And that authentic alignment reverberates into the field, and your encounters with other people becomes so much better. And you're also able to perceive what's other people's stuff, and you become less absorbent of that, and it becomes less of a mind trick, because you know yourself and you know what's true for you, and there's less sifting and sorting that really needs to take place. You might also want to check out the ESP notes that I've created. The first part, Body as an Antenna, is linked below, but the second and third parts are really relevant to Libra energy, because it talks about interference patterns and how you kind of operate in the field amongst others, and why it is so important to have a sense of your own identity and your own authentic frequency in order to be able to go out in the field and emit your energy in a true and pure way. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you found some value in this, and I wish you well.